On Thursday, I began the day still confused by Barnaby Joyce's comments about including agriculture in emissions targets.
One word of caution for those who are, jumping on board saying they want it, they want it, they want it. You can't say, I'm going to marry a person and then say, I actually want to marry someone else. Once you said you're in, you're in.
Sorry, could we play that again?
You can't say, I'm going to marry a person and then say, I actually want to marry someone else. Once you said you're in, you're in.
Sure. I mean, unless a younger, hotter emissions target comes along. To Facebook, the online birthday reminder service that also ruined democracy. For weeks now, there's been a tense standoff between Josh Frydenberg, who wants Facebook to pay for news content.
Facebook was wrong.
And Mark Zuckerberg, who'd rather not.
We have real issues.
That's right, it's a full-blown Berg-off. Berg versus Berg. It's total Berg down, where tense talk is just the tip of the Berg.
Zuckerberg, Frydenberg, what's the difference except a few $1 billion, I suppose?
On Thursday, Facebook finally cracked and decided that no news is good news.
Facebook has taken the nuclear option today to avoid paying its fair share for news. It's banning all reputable mainstream Australian news organisations and others from its sites. And it's even wiped the pages of state health departments and the Bureau of Meteorology. Domestic violence help pages have been erased and a national support page for children's cancer.
Well, you know what they say, you don't get to 1 billion friends without making a few enemies. At the Children's Cancer Support page. Perhaps this was a chance for the rest of us to envisage what the world might be like without Facebook. This could be a blessing in disguise. I mean, it's just a website.
This is an assault on a sovereign nation.
It used to be countries that declared war upon each other, but Facebook has changed the rules with an assault on Australia.
And the NT News dispensed with their traditional crocodile and ran with the front page the day that Facebook went to war with Australia. We're going to war!
Right now, our boys are on the front lines fighting against the Zucker scourge, threatening to wipe our nation off the face of the world. Wide web. Go get 'em, boys! Forget the friends list. This man is now on your enemy list. Everyone is pulling for Australia. This young woman is taking the time to share fake news in person, instead of relying on a big corporation. And this man has set his computer on fire and is hitting it with a sledgehammer. Take that, Zuckerberg! This couple is working to eliminate the need for Facebook entirely by finding other ways to check if your old high school classmates are still rootable. So come on, Australia, get off Facebook and show Mark Zuckerberg that Facebook will go down before Down Under does. Go down, that is.
And late yesterday, a ceasefire was declared between Facebook and the government.
We did it! Peace in our time. Someday our grandkids will ask us what we did on F Day, and we'll tell them, F all, kids.
On Friday, NASA's Perseverance rover touched down on the surface of the place where Matt Damon grew potatoes in his own shit and absolutely captivated Carl Stefanovic.
A moment of history was made. NASA's Mars rover touching down on the surface of the red planet. Amazing footage here, look at that.
That's not footage, Carl. Did you have a cameraman on Mars? If so, I guess history really was made. The actual footage was a little less impressive, but you could still hear the palpable excitement in the voices of the NASA scientists.
And Katie, you're saying the first images are coming in? I think that's the first image. That's what they're cheering about.
And what would they be seeing?
Mars.
Wait till they see the Channel 9 cameraman. And now to Saturday and royal news, which, if you read the Sydney Morning Herald, can be found in the obituary section. But the real story wasn't quite so dramatic. You see, Prince Philip was...
Philip, the People's Prince.
No, stop. No, not yet. I mean, keep it handy, obviously. But as I was saying, Prince Philip...
The People's Prince.
No. Prince Philip, who is fine at the time of recording this, went to hospital after feeling unwell. But he is expected to return to full-strength racism within a week. On Sunday, Australia finally had its first COVID vaccine recipient, an 84-year-old Immunana who was joined for the historic occasion by the PM, dressed in a look best described as weekend smart casual man of action, complete with patriotic mouth cravat.
Why don't we give them a B for vaccine? A B for vaccine.
Yeah, all right, that's great. Like that.
Very good.
Oh, bless. She should have gone with I for inoculation. With social distancing dispensed with, it was the PM's turn to quit the jibber jabber and get the jabby jabber. Naturally, he changed into a more sporty little number that said, I've never been great at rolling up my sleeves, but I'm so bloody Aussie I share 95% of my DNA with a wattle. Health Minister Greg Hunt hoped that the photo op would provide confidence in the vaccine, while Scott Morrison hoped that the distraction would immunise him from the growing scandal at Parliament House.
A second woman has come forward.
A third woman has come forward.
The fourth woman has come forward alleging that she was sexually harassed by this man.
All this on top of more disturbing details about the government's disastrous handling of the alleged sexual assault of Brittany Higgins.
There are new allegations this morning that the Prime Minister's office was made aware of an alleged rape inside Parliament House earlier than last Friday, as it claims.
The Australian newspaper has reportedly obtained a text message from a Liberal staffer sent to Brittany Higgins within a fortnight of the alleged assault. It said, spoke to PMO, he was mortified to hear about it and how things have been handled.
So what did the Prime Minister know, when did he know it, and when did his wife explain to him that it was bad? The PM was more than happy to clear everything up.
Speaker, as I said this morning, I became aware of the alleged sexual assault at about 8:30 yesterday morning. That is true. That is when I became aware of it, Mr Speaker, and the first that my office became aware of an alleged sexual assault, I'm advised, was on the 5th of April of this year. Sorry. No, the 12th, I'm sorry, I've misread that, apologies. The 12th of February 2021.
My bad. I meant February. April was just when those deeply incriminating texts were sent. Easy mistake to make. February Fools, everyone. The more we found out about the handling of this alleged horrific crime, the more the PM's story didn't add up.
The PM maintained he only became aware of Brittany's alleged rape on the morning our interview aired, even though admitting we sought comment from some of the most senior people in his office 3 days earlier.
If he knew there was CCTV, if he knew that a woman who was clearly inebriated and vulnerable was brought to that office, and did he know that she was found naked by security guards? Did he not ask if there was the possibility of sexual assault? I think that these are really troubling questions.
Hey, this happened in the lead up to the last election, you know, when the Prime Minister was very busy not knowing about the sports rort scandal. The PM can't be expected to not know about everything. As for getting to the bottom of what did happen, the investigations seem tilted towards making sure that ScoMo still won't know.
3 out of the 4 investigations announced this week will be carried out by the PM's own people. The 4th, a bipartisan committee, won't begin for months.
So the PM's office is going to investigate itself. Why is that a problem? Well, for the same reason if I need a colonoscopy, I shouldn't be the one holding the camera, because no matter what I say, I don't really want to get to the bottom of it. But the other problem is that when you give a job to people who only do politics for a living, they're only going to see it as a political problem.
The Prime Minister's office has been backgrounding that her now partner has a vendetta or a gripe, might be the better way to put it, against the government because of him being a former public servant.
The PM's office is backgrounding against Brittany Higgins' partner. They're not trying to solve the problem, they're trying to make it go away. The PM says he wants to change Canberra's culture. But you can't change the culture if you are the culture. Brittany Higgins was made to feel that if her story got out, her job would be on the line, while the PM maintains his culture of implausible, plausible deniability to ensure that his job never is. On Monday, Australia was once again on the receiving end of elder abuse as Immunana toured Australian media, flipping everyone off.
Just before we go, will you give us a V?
V for vaccine?
A V for vaccine.
Yeah, this way.
She's a menace. On Tuesday, while French electro-pop band Daft Punk split up, fellow Daft Punk Craig Kelly resigned from the Liberal Party and immediately met with Barnaby Joyce, who presumably sent him right back to the Liberal Party because, as Barnaby says...
You can't say, I'm going to marry a person and then say, I actually want to marry someone else. Once you said you're in, you're in.
Too bloody right. And in Brisbane, we saw another Extinction Rebellion climate protest.
The activists will move from the Botanical Gardens to Parliament House in what they call civil disobedience. Sunrise correspondent Bianca Stone is in Brisbane, obviously with some of them. We'll try to cross to her now. What's happening, Bianca?
I'll tell you what's happening, Nat. Hell is full and the dead are walking the earth. The only question remaining, if they feast on brains, what the hell are they doing on Sunrise? Which brings us to today. And my favourite story of the week, every traveller's worst nightmare.
It's every traveller's worst nightmare.
A flight full of babies, a flight to Bali, a flight full of babies on their way to Bali.
The chilling view from inside United Airlines Flight 832, moments after takeoff from Denver, when its right engine catches fire.
Shit, that really would have set off the babies. And it wasn't just dangerous for the people in the air, it was a nightmare for those on the ground.
The debris landed thousands of miles below.
Thousands of miles below? I didn't realise United is now doing flights from Denver to the moon. And understandably, passengers were terrified.
Terrified, she even texted her two sons to say goodbye.
And good on her for putting her full name in case her sons didn't know who Mum was. You know, we love you both so much. Your mum, Barbara Underwood. Meanwhile, back on the ground...
Onlookers watched in horror as plumes of smoke trailed the Boeing 777. Huge pieces of metal seemed falling from the sky.
The force was so great that it blew that cover of the engine off.
That is terrifying. Thankfully, the Esky was completely fine. But amongst the carnage, at least the crew were able to stay on brand.
No matter what you say about United Airlines, what you can say is safety is our primary purpose, and you've just witnessed that.
That is some spin, when the only thing most passengers witnessed was their life flashing before their eyes.